All right, hello everybody. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, the solo dev, the creator of Tranquil Expression, aka the first game I ever made music for. So, hello Joash, thank you for joining me.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah. Um it's here. The game is done.
It is here at long last.
Oh my gosh. I mean, for me it was like 7 or 8 months of my time, but for you way longer.
Hmm, a long time.
And I guess before we kind of get into Tranquil Expression itself, the first thing I kind of wanted to ask you was, how did you like start with ZC? Like, what got you into working in ZC? And maybe give a little brief explanation of what ZC is.
Yeah, so ZC is a ZQuest Classic. It used to be called Zelda Classic, but they did change the name more recently. But ZC for short is a game maker that's based off of the original Legend of Zelda. It started as a recreation of it, like back in the year 2000. But over time, it developed to have its own like editor, and you could edit things. For a while, especially, it was known as it was a fairly popular Zelda editor back in the day, like especially back in the early 2010s. So you can make your own Zelda games with it, like kind of in the style of Zelda One. But like over time, like it became more versatile as an engine. You could use it to maybe go a little bit more beyond Zelda, like storytelling wise. You had kind of the freedoms to do all this. I mean, it's still Zelda. Like there's still Zelda assets to it and whatnot. So it fits more under that fan game umbrella, if you will. Um, but I started back in 2013, I believe it was, because I mean, like most people, I wanted to make my own Zelda games. So I started doing that. Started making some stuff in ZC for a while, but over time, I pretty steadily and gradually I gradually began doing more and more like original stuff with ZC, or using it more as a creative outlet for more original stories, original settings, original worlds. Because I saw other people were also doing this in ZC as well, and it's like, huh, I can do that as well. And so it kind of started with one of my older games, the Slipstream. Ended up being not very Zelda-like at all, even well maybe similar in Zelda style for the gameplay, but it's more of a Metroidvania, and you don't even play as Link in it. Like fully original story, and that's where Tranquil Expression is. Also, it's got its own story, its own world, all within the realms of ZC, and even ZC itself as a program has gotten a lot of changes over the years. It's become even more versatile in these more recent years. So even like within the last few years, there's a lot more things you can do in the engine just by itself. I mean, you can also add your own coding to it as well. But even like within just the ZC engine itself, there's so much you can do with it. So it's been a lot of fun to mess with, and it also just makes it very convenient for working as well, because there are stuff that's of course pre-built, because it's meant to be just a nice little editor for an adventure game. And they renamed it to ZQuest Classic more recently to try to have their own like unique brand on the program as a whole.
Gotcha. And crazy you're talking about like the features they added. Somehow conveniently, right when I like hit you up to like start working on this is when they added in the feature to use enhanced music and not just MIDI, which is like what how insane is
That
that
is
timing?
that is pretty crazy. Well, they have allowed for enhanced music for a long time. The thing that changed with that was being able to edit the enhanced music within the engine a lot more. Because before it was like you could only like play exactly as the file was set up. You couldn't like loop it in special ways. You
Oh,
just had what the file was, and for enhanced music it was more limited in what you could do with it.
gotcha.
Whereas with midis you had a lot more control over that kind of stuff. But now enhanced music has that exact control, and now you can use enhanced music just like you would with the MIDI files, which MIDI files were essentially the original way of doing music for
Yeah, yeah.
ZC.
Yeah, and you brought up like your own like original stories and stuff like that, and obviously I'm not going to spoil anything here, but the story is awesome. Just playing through Act One and whenever I read through the Act Two Google Docs, like even some parts in Part Two was like hitting me in the feels. I'm like, damn, dude, like it was like it was like pretty in depth for like just like this 2D game on the surface. And speaking of the story, I wanted to ask like kind of what your like biggest inspirations were for the story.
Ooh, let me think about this a second. Well, it originally started, which I mean, I'm probably gonna high thunder.
Oh yeah, just for
so
to let you guys know, me and him are both like in tornado watches right now. So
yeah, fun times, am I right?
yeah,
Yeah, but anyways, this could possibly cut into another question you have later, but the story originally was a lot more goofy, as it were, because originally this game started in 2017 for a random theme contest where basically you had 2 weeks to build a game in ZC, but you were given a random theme that you can use, and you were like given a choice of, like I think it was like we had a choice of three different themes, and we could like mix and match the three different ideas for themes. And essentially, mine was something along the lines of you it was something to do with mushrooms, and it's or no, I think you were given three titles that you could work with and three descriptions for ideas, and you could like just mix and match all six of those like however you want. And I think in one of the titles it was something about mushroom adventure, and in one of the descriptions it was like you go to school with dwarves, and the game is very grindy. So like originally the story idea was just you had to look for these mushrooms, and and you went to school with dwarves, which originally the school, the Summit University in the game used to just go to school with dwarves, which I mean that storyline is like completely changed, as you'll see
yeah.
in the actual game. And even the name of the game was very different back then. It was a grinding mushroom to kind of go along with that. And and the whole thing with the tokens in the game, which you'll see when you play the game as well. The idea of two different kinds of tokens kind of came from that grinding idea, because you had to grind for blue tokens. Now there's less of an aspect of grinding per se, or like pure grinding in the final game per se, because this game's like very different than what it was in that contest. But yeah, but but as far as inspiration for the current story goes, I don't know. I feel like it's probably come from a lot of different places. Just kind of just a lot of things I've seen over the years. Some audiobooks I've listened to, like kind of taking small bits of inspiration
Yeah.
here and there. I like sci-fi stuff, so you can kind of see an aspect of that implemented in there as well. Um, Really, a lot of the inspiration from the story came from me taking the original idea of the goofy story that was the original idea of the goofy story that was in the original contest version, and kind of just making it a little bit more serious, like adding more to it. I did take some ideas as well that I had from a story I thought of a long time ago. I'll say one word out of context because I haven't seen the story yet, but shade.
Mm.
That the idea behind that word and what it pertains to in the story. I actually took the idea of that from something else I made like a long time ago,
Okay.
and brought it over there. And of course, Act Two's story, which originally the game was only going to be Act One, but then I ended up adding an entire second act to kind of expand on the story a little bit more. But Act Two is based off of the first game I made, Lost Identity, which even that kind of had a goofy like story as well. I had a lot of inside jokes from my friends IRL back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like there's aspects of the lore that you can take from it that are like unique and by itself. That's not like obviously Zelda related. So Act Two is more or less inspired, or I guess you can say a reimagining of Lost Identity in a way. It's kind of taking the same world, as it were, and it's more of a, Act 2 is like more of a based off of Lost Identity, while it's still being its own thing, of course. But yeah, there are yeah, so a lot of the story is, again, like similar to the story in Act 1. Act 2 story is kind of taking some aspects from Lost Identity and being like, okay, how can we connect all this, and how do these connect to Act 1, and how can we make this story as it were, make it kind of the same feel as that story there, or same feel as Act 1, and make it all flow as one cohesive story.
Yeah.
And as far as you were saying with like the hitting in the feels bit, I honestly don't remember exactly how I got it to that point. How I went from like, oh, goofy game, let's go find mushroom, to oh, let's let's hit him in the feels. I remember one person played the Act 1 beta, and some people were asking me like, "Are you okay? You okay, Joash?" I'm like, "I am okay. This is just the story. I'm fine. Everything's okay." I think it just kind of came to me, and like maybe in my head I was thinking, this is kind of maybe a unique way of going about this. Like you kind of start off more lighthearted, and then just kind of this deeper story just kind of hits you out of nowhere.
Yeah. And the story was super fun to write for, because there's like so many like reoccurring themes. It's kind of cool to bring some of those themes back in different ways. So that was super fun. But yeah, I guess like this, the kind of talk about inspirations that I use for writing purposes. Like it's kind of funny too, because like in Act 1, it's almost like you can tell like what I was playing at the time. And I feel like Act 1 was a lot of like Zelda-esque kind of stuff, and a lot of like Hollow Knight and Silksong. Like I think I was playing Silksong very heavily when I first started working on your game.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we started getting more into Act 2, I think that's when I picked up Tunic for the first time. And so there's like a couple like Tunic-esque tracks in Act 2. But yeah, it was
Oh, nice.
it was super fun to write for, and like I said, with it being my first game I ever wrote for, like it was a lot, but I'm glad I got this experience, because that's priceless experience. I mean, 43 tracks. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh man, and I can kind of relate to also with you can kind of tell what games I was playing too when making certain places, because like without much context, you'll know what this is. But level 5, I was definitely playing Silksong during that.
Yeah,
you can maybe see like some choral chamber inspiration in that as well.
Yep.
Yep.
And speaking of, I'm assuming we're talking about Clear Court. This won't spoil anything, but Clear Courts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was gonna. Yep. I just wanted to bring up this. I was gonna just kind of, because I haven't played Act 2. I've only kind of just like walked around some areas and read the Google Doc, because Act 2 wasn't in a playable state when I got to writing for it. But I just wanted to kind of throw in some of like my favorite areas that I wrote for, and just to list them off. It'll be let's see. I wrote 3 down. Mind Palace was like story-wise was super fun to write for. Mind Palace was awesome. Might be, which I haven't played Act 2 dungeons yet, but Act 1, it's definitely my favorite dungeon in Act 1. Clear Courts was thematically super cool and very visually appealing to look at. And obviously, Lock Haven's like that's my favorite track from the game, because it was one of the first ones I wrote. Oh, was that thunder?
That was. I don't know if you heard that one.
I did.
Close.
Oh my gosh, dude! I feel like I had like a lightning strike like right outside my window like an hour ago. It was so loud.
Oh wow. Well, I just had that myself.
It's crazy because like we live nowhere near each other, but we're both going through storms right now.
I know, right? That's crazy.
But I wanted to ask you, what were kind of your like favorite areas to work on?
Ooh, well, yeah, I would also say Mind Palace was one of my favorite places to work on, because especially like compared to every other level in Act 1, even every other area in Act 1, Mind Palace is like thematically unique compared to everything else, and just the puzzle aspect of it was like super fun to work on. Clear Quartz was also really fun as well, because that was the first dungeon I made in Act 2, and also the first new dungeon I had made in a while, really, especially for Tranquil Expression. And so to kind of go off of that with the idea that I had for it, and to kind of get things rolling for Act 2, and once I made it and was like satisfied with how it was going so far, I was like, okay, this should be a good start to Act 2. Other areas as well. I would say the rolling ravine was also pretty fun.
Yeah.
I would say it was mostly fun, but it was also and sometimes it was a pain to set up as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of aspects of it that had to be set up, and a lot of mechanics that had to be like fine-tuned and made, and a lot of complex setups, which yeah, speaking of the rolling ravine, I'm looking outside of it right now. But as far as other areas go as well, see, the thing about Act 1's overworld as well, which of course the main overworld of Act 1 was made for the contest, so that world has been like made for so long, okay. Which I didn't actually start working on Tranquil Expression as it were now until like 2022 or 2023, I think, maybe one of those. Gotcha. Kind of just on and off, but anyways. But I do remember when I started working on it again to originally like touch it up for a release, but then it turned into what it is now. I do remember touching up like almost every single area of that game, because of course when I was making it in 2 weeks, a lot of the areas were rushed in terms of looks, so I put like more detail into the Act 1 world. And so recoloring a bunch of stuff, adding more gameplay to stuff. That was a lot of fun as well. And also one other area of note that I'll mention that I had a lot of fun working on was well, I can't really say what area it was, but it's a level 7 area when you hit a certain like major plot point after the library. So okay. I'll say it in that context for those that do know. So if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But stuff after the library into level 7, that was a lot of fun to make as well.
Awesome. So I guess the kind of wrap things up, I just have like 2 more questions. I know you're super stoked to be like, we're here. It's done. Like, I know you're going to be getting back into speedrunning soon. Besides, obviously, Wind Waker. What games are you kind of looking forward to playing? Because I know you've kind of taken a gaming hiatus to finish your game. So anything kind of on the back burner you're looking forward to playing?
Ooh, yeah. So I actually do have a couple of games in the back of my mind to like catch up on, because I might actually be doing a bit of a catch up before I actually get back into speedrunning, which that break from Wind Waker definitely lasted a lot longer than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because like, what was it, like April maybe? I think it was like beginning of April. I was like, all right, let me take a pause on Wind Waker to focus on the game, and I was thinking, well, maybe I can get it done within like a month, and no, it took like 3 more.
Yeah.
It ended up being a lot more than I was expecting, but it worked out. It worked out, but anyways, I'm chasing a rabbit here. Games I'm thinking of catching up on. I've been wanting to play Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. Okay. So I haven't actually played all of the Donkey Kong Country games. I played 1 earlier this year, so 2 and 3 I want to catch up on. There's a part of me that wants to replay Donkey Kong 64 now that it's out on Switch.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see on that. Eventually I gotta get back to the Twilight Princess playthrough. And there are a few other ZC games as well that I want to either replay because I haven't played them in years, or just play in general. But yeah, as far as and also as far as speedruns go, obviously I want to get back to Wind Waker. There is one other ZC game that came out recently that's something I've been doing runs with. It's called Link's Quest with Hookshot Zero. That was doing like some runs for fun, so I may like experiment with that as well. And also, dev and a speedrunner, I have speedrun my own game as well. Mm-hmm. Slipstream, I may do a few runs of, because Chef Bear bought a lot of the world records in that game.
Oh,
So I was like,
he
oh,
took
okay,
your
I'm gonna have to,
records.
yeah, I took the records. So I'm
Oh
like, okay,
man.
might have to take those back. You know,
Yeah.
add some competition in there. You know.
Is Tranquil gonna get a page on
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's go. That's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
cool.
it'll definitely get a page, especially if people are running. I don't know exactly when it'll be posted, but I will definitely be encouraging it for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to throw some runs at it for sure. I'll have to get in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. There are some speedrunning references in the game as
There
well.
are.
So you know that I, as a dev, will fully
Mm-hmm.
encourage breaking the game as much as possible, go as fast as possible.
Oh yeah.
I fully support it. Go break the game.
Yes. And I'm sure you're not even thinking about this right now, but just in case you are, down the line, what are your next dev plans, if there are any?
Well, I do actually have some dev plans already. Now, when I get to them, that is more the question.
Yeah.
I do kind of know what's already up and coming. So, two main things really. One, we have the sequel to The Deep, which is a game I made a few years ago, also
Okay.
for a contest. But that game is going to be. I'm going to be working on a sequel to that game with Team UDF. We've been planning on collabing for the sequel to that game.
Nice.
But then also, as far as my own solo projects, I'm hopefully probably going to be going back to the sequel to the Slipstream as well, which that sequel's been a bit more of a long awaited one, like almost like very very anticipated for many years kind of sequel, just been kind of left hanging for a long time. So it's probably about finally time to get back to that whenever I'm feeling up to it. But yeah, I can definitely anticipate me taking maybe a small break, especially
yeah.
after this long grind. Especially oh my goodness, this last week has been such a grind. I don't even think I've streamed this week because I've just been
No, like
pushing
you've
to
pretty much
finish
been like
the game.
MIA because like you can't stream spoiler stuff, and you were trying to get it done, so you weren't like speedrunning or anything. So it's kind of like you'd pop in some chats here and there. It's like, oh, he came out of his cave for a little bit.
Oh look, there he is! Oh, Wild Juice, he's back. Yeah, because I was streaming game dev for a good portion of it, but yeah, it definitely got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't show anymore. Have fun, everyone. Now, maybe for these future projects, I won't have as much to hide, really, as I do Tranquil Expression. Tranquil Expression definitely has, like, a lot more things that I'm like, okay, I don't want to spoil the surprise on some of this, especially for some people. There's even some references and even some cameos that I sprinkled in there and hit around, so...
Okay.
So, yeah. There you have it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the questions I have. And again, I just want to like say thank you for allowing me, trusting me with your baby here, your child. I made.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, my first
it
first
was
game,
awesome.
first soundtrack ever. It's crazy, and we're here.
Yeah, we're here. We're finally here. Yeah, I really enjoyed working with you on the soundtrack. You definitely had a. Yeah, definitely like pretty steadily and pretty soon. You had a good idea of like what I wanted for the tracks, and yeah, I hope that I hope you take off with it because you definitely did a phenomenal job with the soundtrack.
And yeah, so obviously the game is on ZC. It's free to play. I'm gonna have links to the game. I'm gonna have links to Joash's YouTube and Twitch because he does speedrun streams, game dev streams, all sorts of things over there. So go check him out for sure. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one. So
awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Hope you all have a good one, and peace.